Sorry for the rough start. As I was saying, if you guys want to, while you're driving in your car or whatever, if you can't make the live show, you can check us out on Spotify, where we upload the audio every week. So they're up there. Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, we're there. So,
which is amazing.
Hopefully it's good now. I hope. I took off my thing, and so hopefully it's good.
Hopefully.
You know what?
When it comes to our show being on podcasts and all on the platforms, it's pretty cool. Sitting back and looking at it, like I can just go on to Apple Music, type up our show, and boom, it's there. And I'm like, holy crap, that's so cool. You know?
Yep, we're reaching, which is really cool.
The Rendered Image Global.
We got some.
We reached Singapore, baby.
Welcome Singapore and
Netherlands.
The Netherlands, Denmark. Welcome Denmark. Yeah, hi guys out there.
Hello.
And you know, base. So that's really cool. Thanks guys for subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate it. We love it. Let's start off. Let's just do it. Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Bring it to us. The Ghostbusters Afterlife came out. All three of us have seen it.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Not at the same time though. We saw it at our own. Yeah.
We didn't sit together and hold each other's hands.
No.
So.
As fun as that would be. That would be.
Maybe one day.
Can you imagine? That touching ending.
That'll be for Multiverse of Madness.
or Spider-Man even.
Spider-Man, yeah.
No, but I love this movie. I think this was a great, we all really enjoyed this film. Views though. The internet has not been kind to this necessarily. And
just like how our audio is not being kind to us.
Well, and this is the question that I wanted to ask you guys is, there's just destined to fail? Why, like, in terms of audience, like, it has these weird expectations. Like, and Shannon, you're more of explain it more, but what are these audience members, what are they wanting that they're not getting from this Ghostbusters? Because it exceeded my expectations. I enjoy. It's all set in the world of the original Ghostbusters. I mean, it world that I thought was kind of, not set up. Have different. Understand people. It's an okay movie or whatever, but for people to just straight up hate it, movie then.
I didn't get a lot of what you were saying, Tyler, but I think I can decipher from it. People, for some reason, demand perfection, but see, the idea of perfection is that, one, it's unattainable, and two, it's subjective. Right? My idea of perfection is different from Christian's version of perfection and different from your version of perfection, right? Where, for example, Christian had I would say a challenge with 1984 Dune. It's
a challenge for sure.
I mean, and I don't mean that in a negative sense. It was just like, what is going on right now?
Right.
But for me,
based.
For me, when I first saw that particular movie, I was a kid, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, I didn't really question it; I was in awe of it, and I just fell in love with it. So, and despite its flaws, I love that film. Now, Ghostbusters Afterlife is not a perfect film. No film is.
Right.
Even Ghostbusters, 84 Ghostbusters, people call that lightning in a bottle. It's the perfect film, blah, 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 blah. That even has issues with it. now with my trained eye, thank you film school, I can see like the different takes and different edits, and there are subtle changes in tone, in pacing, and in the cuts where it's like, okay, they picked a cut from one take and spliced it in with this other one to make it look like it's the same, but it's not the same. I can see that now. So it's like I can see the seams and the stitches, but that doesn't take away from my enjoyment. And like 84 Ghostbusters to me is a 5 out of 5 movie. Ghostbusters Afterlife for me is like 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that film. Yeah. And I don't get the backlash. I don't get it at all. People, like, there was this one, I was looking at other channels just to gauge like how they were expected their expectations and everything after I saw the movie. One person was, right, and I'm not going to promote any other channel on here, but one channel, one of the hosts was like, "Where's the comedy? Ghostbusters is a comedy. Where's the comedy?" So I don't know if he was being facetious.
The fuck did he movie? I mean,
or be like, you don't understand Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because like what we talked about before, I think on the last show, is that Ghostbusters is it's a hybrid, right? It's a hybrid genre film, and it's not just a comedy. It's just like saying, Deadpool is just a comedy. You can't say that, because there are more aspects to Deadpool than just being a comedy. And if you just focus on the comedy aspects of it, you miss the total picture of that film. Just like in Ghostbusters, it's more than just a comedy, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people go in here thinking they're going to watch this zany comedy, and it's like, yo, you're not going to go in watching Wedding Crashers, right? This isn't American Pie. This isn't anything like that. This isn't a Paul Feig movie. This is a Jason Reitman movie. And if you know Jason Reitman and his work, this is not going to be a zany comedy. It's going to be a personal film. It's going to be a connected, emotional film, and people, like, they just don't understand that. They just see Ghostbusters and they go in there with these expectations, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing to see people, especially people near my age, growing up with this stuff, and they don't like it. And I'm like, what are you? And then my question is, what were you expecting?
Yeah.
Right. Harold Ramis is dead. All the Ghostbusters are in their 60s or 70s. They're not going to go, and you're not going to get Bill Murray to go bust ghosts. It's not. That's just not going to happen. I think they were on. They're on one of the late night shows. I think it was Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, one of them. One of the gyms. But he was saying, because like one of Bill Murray's big things in Ghostbusters was like the proton packs were too heavy, right? And he said like these were the ones in Afterlife were a lot lighter than from what he remembered. But he said that it canceled out because he's so old now that just trying to, getting the proton pack on, it was just like he could hear his joints breaking, So it's like like the reality is that these guys are not where they were back in, the last time they were doing this back in 89, right? I mean, that's 32 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. And they were already like they were around my age. Where I am now is where they were back in 1989. So, or True. Older. Yeah. So it's unrealistic to assume that they're going to be jumping around busting ghosts. Yeah. So, I don't know what they were talking about. I absolutely love this film. I'm going to go see it again. It's doing great in the box office. Worldwide, it's made almost $80 million so far.
Ooh, all right.
Off of a $75 million budget. So it's doing fantastic. And I'm absolutely happy for this. And I'm looking forward to future movies in this setting, in this timeline.
Oh, for sure, man.
Which Jason Reitman, the director, did say that he's treatments for the next movie. So they're working on it, is from what I've heard. So
nice. I mean, even Yeah, I mean, I think the last shot set up a sequel and to where it's gonna go next. So
Hmm.
I'm excited for sure. Yeah, man, I love this movie. When I went into it, moderate expectations, of course, with any reboot continuation. I don't go into it wanting it to be like, you can hope, but I'm not gonna expect it from it. But
Mhm.
I'm so glad it blew me away. I was wrong in all these departments. I thought it was gonna be crap. I was gonna be like, all right, you know what? It's gonna like bank off the nostalgia, but it did in all the right ways. Like you said, this was a very, very very personal piece, and it really shows the boldness that it had when what they did with Harold Ramis's character. That was really bold. And I sat back, I'm like, whoa, that's wow, they're really going for it. That's awesome. And people cheered. I remember, man, people clapped 4 times in my theater. And that was insane because I wasn't expecting that.
Mhm.
I was expecting the audience reaction from Spider-Man, and later in December, not for
Hmm.
Ghostbusters. I was pleasantly surprised with that. And man, 4 times at the end. I don't want to name them. I don't know if we're going to spoil this movie here, but man, it was really touching, really touching. I remember you said, Shannon, you cried. I think I was the last one to watch it
Yeah,
out of us three. So I read your initial reactions, both of your guys', and you both loved them, adored it. And you said you were crying at the end. And I'm
I
like,
definitely was.
yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, come on. I'm like, what could be that emotional, man? I'm like, I went in there like, come on, man, what could be that emotional? I sat there, I'm tearing up. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, it got me, bro. This is good. This is hitting all
Yeah.
the emotional strings. And granted, I saw the first movie in high school. It's not like I grew up with this
Hmm.
movie, kind of
Mhm.
like how Shannon did. So I was a little late to this when it came to Ghostbusters. I was already a teenager when I experienced it. It
Right.
still tugged at my heartstrings, man. It still got me to like feel the nostalgia from the first one. Plus our rewatch, we rewatched the first one recently, so that was a good prep going into this one.
Mhm.
Just a beautiful time for sure, man. I cried, cheered. That was just very touching.
Yeah.
I definitely think the rewatches at least helped me with this one.
Yeah.
And same thing obviously with the Spider-Man. Like I think rewatching those two definitely gets you kind of in the zone, and the rewatch of the Ghostbusters close together that yeah, definitely got me in the zone.
Yeah, I want to add real quick. One of the criticisms that have been going around um, YouTube and the interwebs, and it has to deal with uh, the nostalgia and fan service.
Mm.
And some people are complaining or criticizing this film for they like to throw out that South Park reference to member berries, right? Um, so this is a film that is a sequel to two other films. And if they're going to be referencing the other two films, that's the whole point of the film. This is a film that exists in an existing universe,
Mhm.
right? Complaining about nostalgia and fan service in Ghostbusters Afterlife is akin to complaining about Star Wars references in the sequel trilogy.
Hell,
You
it's
can
akin to complaining about scares in a horror movie. What did you expect?
exactly.
you know?
It's like, I mean, to use a Star Wars reference though, it's like you're complaining about lightsabers and hyperdrive, or like phrases like, you know, um,
May the force be with you.
"May the Force be with you." It's like, oh my god, that's so 1977. Can't they think of something else? That get the fuck out of here. I mean, it's like, what are you expecting? This is a Ghostbusters movie. It's going to have Ghostbusters references. Not only is this a Ghostbusters movie, this is a sequel from the last film series that ended in 1989. So cinematically, they need to reestablish what this world is,
Mhm.
right? Because it has been 32 years since we've been in this world, right? There was a video game, 300 people has not have not played that video game, right? The 2016 Ghostbusters has absolutely nothing to do with the timeline from the 1984 movie.
Yeah.
This one does. And it's like, we need to reconnect with this world. We need to reconnect with these characters. And what have they been doing for 32 years? Because last time I checked, 32 years is a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And yes, you're going to get, yes, that's Ecto 1. Yes, those are proton packs. Yes, those are Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's a point to this, and that's another one real quick. It's this. There's this contention about the mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. People are like, why were they there? That was just blatant fan service. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Don't you understand that in Ghostbusters, in 1984 Ghostbusters, the form Gozer chose as the Destructor was taken from Ray as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That was the joke. He was trying to think of, what's the most happy-go-lucky, joyful character that he could think of, like who couldn't possibly destroy the world. Stay Puft, Mr. Stay Puft. And Gozer took the form of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Mm-hmm.
We see all these mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men going around causing chaos.
Adorable. Yeah.
So, but what's the connection there? The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is an incarnation of Gozer. So if you were paying attention to the 1984 film and you're paying attention to what's going on in this film, you can put 2 and 2 together. Wow. And if you can't do that and you're complaining about it, then you've completely missed the boat. And
that's not cheap call outs or fan service. That's fucking
that's a narrative connection.
That's world building, dude. That's
yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
And people have missed that because they are so I don't know what they're looking at or what they're thinking of, but it infuriates me that people don't take the time to actually, like, they're reacting to it, which is like, okay, I get it. But if you are going to, for me, if you're going to review a film, you need to analyze that film. If you're going to take yourself seriously as a critic, you need to analyze this film. And since it's a sequel, how it connects to the other films. Mm-hmm. A lot of people aren't doing that, right? They look for these buzzwords or these buzz phrases, or they try to piggyback on whatever is trending on social media so they can get the views on their channel. Yeah. And they try to hunchback on people. And it absolutely infuriates me. It absolutely does. It works the other way, like with the with what happened with the sequel trilogy, and everybody started hating Star Wars because that's what was the trending thing to do.
Yeah.
Without giving the legitimate criticisms of what happened in the sequel trilogy, and then of course, then you get into the toxic fandom and stuff like that. My criticisms to this has nothing to do, of course, with toxicity or anything like that. There's some narrative questions I had. There were some story structure and editing questions I have had. So it'll be nice to actually analyze this film and break it down, because it seems like there were some scenes that were cut out for pacing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And again, this isn't a spoiler, but there was a certain point in the film where I'm like, well, what happened to the police? And to me, that is a legitimate critique, not about, oh, there's a Nestle Crunch bar in a jumpsuit. It's like, I had no problem with that. I actually thought that was pretty cute.
Yeah.
And pretty neat, and it's. I can go on and on.
We need the Reitman director cut. Directors.
Exactly. You guys can hear me fine right now, yeah? Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Better. I just went out and I just put the thing in a different USB port, so hopefully that works.
There you go.
You sound 100 times better.
Yeah, maybe it's that port. It could easily just be that USB port. I don't know. But anyways,
but no, I love this film, and I will preach its good graces. I mean, people need to go see this.
Well,
yeah.
If you're a fan of the Ghostbusters, and go see it.
Or if you're curious, if you haven't seen the Ghostbusters in a long time, go see this. If you're curious, if you're like, oh man, I haven't seen that Ghostbusters in a long time, go see this one, because I think it'll still make you feel the feels. And I'm also, I hope moving forward that Jason and the team don't take these criticisms to heart. I hope that they stick with their guns and keep pushing forward with what they created. And because, for the sequels and stuff,
I mean, they've done a perfect thing. Is that, where this movie leaves off, it's like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
at this point. And the way that you could build this up, I mean, it to me, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, I am not joking when I'm going to say that when I came home from the movie theater, I went on Sony's website and I started looking for career opportunities. I'm like, if there's a way I can get in the Ghost Corps, I'm putting in an application.
Oh yeah,
because this is it. Like
that'd be crazy.
It's like this in Star Trek.
Well,
like if I could,
this. I mean, hey, and I've talked about this before, but like my plan is to make a film with you guys. That's one of my, or like a short film. Like I really want to do that, and if we want to go down the ghost route, I'm cool with that too. Like, or whoever knows the horror route. I don't know, Christian. I don't know what kind of movie you want to make. I don't know. We still got to sit down and talk about it, but
I'm down for a Ghostbusters, like a concept, like a short film.
If we could do a Ghostbusters,
this could be set in the same canon.
Hey, I'm down.
This is what we see. That would be pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm down.
Yes.
Let's do it.
YES. Yes.
You heard it here first.
So.
Oh yeah, tons of ideas.
We'll float that around.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
If you're out there and you want a crew on a film, or if you're an actor, hit us up. If that sounds interesting to you,
next Ghostbusters.
let us know. But all right, let's move on to the next topic, shall we? Let's take a.
Go see Ghostbusters.
Let's take a.
I could spend 2 hours talking about Ghostbusters. Let's move on.
Let's take a trip to Hawkeye Land.
Hawkeye Land.
The MCU. Yay.
All right. So this week, I guess, technically, yeah. They released the first 2 episodes of the Hawkeye television show on Disney+. And the first 2 episodes, right, there's 6 in total that are coming down the pipeline. It's releasing every week, but they decided to drop the first 2. I've seen it. I think Christian has also seen it.
I have.
Shannon has not, right?
I have not. I watched the South Park post-COVID special instead of this.
All right. So that's
Paramount. I would have watched that, man. If I don't have Paramount.
Well, what we'll do, because I do want to hear your thoughts on the South Park special too. So we'll kind of hint at this stuff because it is kind of only the first 2 episodes. So there's really not a lot to talk about. I mean, there's stuff to talk about, but it's only it's just the appetite, right? And I've seen some people already writing off the show, which doesn't make much sense to me because it's only been 2 episodes. And there have been people that are like, I don't like it, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not watching it anymore. Da, da, da. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it's only the first 2 episodes.
For sure. Yeah, it's funny how people are just kind of like jumping off the boat already. I've seen a couple of comments like that. I also saw a couple of comments calling this a film. People thought this was a movie. It's like, no, man, it's a mini-series, and there's more episodes to come. This is just building up everything,
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad, dude. This is a really fun show so far.
Do you think your people are reacting the way they are because it's just Hawkeye?
So I did hear. So no, well, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. So I guess not because they do this a lot in the MCU. I don't know. So there's a reference to the Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie, right? Mm-hmm. And I've seen some complaints, but it very much focuses on Hawkeye, obviously.
Yep.
And there have been people who are like, well, why weren't there other Avengers in that one scene or whatever? And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't, like they're off fighting other people. Like, so
exactly, they weren't always together during that fight. Like they were covering ground, man.
So yeah, again, goes back to what you were saying, Shannon, of just these complaints that just make no sense. Where it's just like, can we just enjoy something for what it is? Now, and then the other big, now to warn people, which not to warn, whatever. I mean, it's split between Kate and Clint. I would say both of these characters on screen here now, they share the show equally, right?
Yeah.
And we get this, which is cool. We've seen a lot of Clint's story in the movies and stuff. So, and just, I don't know, like you got to know, I guess maybe, and I'm coming from a place where it's like, I know these characters. So, and I can understand, like, as a business and as a product, like they're a movie studio. It's Marvel Studios. So they're setting her up to, obviously be a part of the Young Avengers. And like, for people who just don't know that going into it, I'm sorry. But then again, I'm not sorry if you're going to complain about it. Obviously they're setting her up for future things.
Yeah.
And
when they were setting up the Infinity Saga, no one knew what the hell they were setting up. I remember everyone was like, "Who the hell is that purple dude at the end of the first Avengers movie?"
Unless you knew,
like
unless you knew though.
Exactly, unless you knew. And at the time in 2012, not a lot of people knew who Thanos was, man.
No,
not as compared today. So you just got to
be just that purple dude.
Yeah, who the hell is that purple dude? Who the hell is that?
It's Grimace's cousin.
Smiling.
But yeah, man, it's like this when this new era, this new phase that Marvel's in is basically kind of like the next phase one. This is like the next first chapter of what's to come next. They're building stuff up while also kind of like carrying some stuff over that's pretty ambitious from the Infinity Saga, like with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. But at the same time, they're also introducing these new characters, these new young characters that are like, going to start up and stuff. And plus we got Falcon as Cap. So it's like all this groundwork has been laid out so far.
It's like a new Avengers.
Exactly. It's like,
right. And we're getting a different iteration of those characters who already exist within, the comic universe. So it's like they're just not making these people up,
Exactly.
She-Hulk exists, Falcon as Captain America exists.
Yes, exactly.
And
Falcon took over the Captain America mantle in the comics. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think people don't know this. And I haven't really gauged this. I don't really read a lot of comics, not comics. I don't really read a lot of comments. I don't know how many bandwagony Marvel fans there are. You know what I'm saying? There's probably a ton, who just watch the movies and the TV shows, right? But I don't know. I think your level of complaining, or what you can complain about if you haven't read the comics and if you don't know the history of these characters, I think there's only a certain amount that you can kind of complain about things before it's just like, meh, like this is, and again, it's a movie studio. Marvel Studios is their own studio. They're in the business of making entertainment. They're never, and this is why people, I got Marvel fatigue and like, I wish they'd stop making these. Like, they're not going to stop making these. This is owned by Disney. They're their own company. This is the people's careers to make superhero movies. Like, they're not going to stop making these.
If they stop making superhero content, then they cease to exist as a studio, and that's just not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
No, exactly.
Marvel is not going to create some angsty teen drama or some separate political thriller that's completely absent of any comic book characters. What they're going to do is they're going to take those genres and place them within this cinematic universe and tell that story. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it works, like Civil War or Winter Soldier. I mean, Winter Soldier is like one of my favorite MCU movies.
Oh yeah,
hands down, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's to complain about Marvel making superhero movies is like
complaining about Ghostbusters having Ghostbuster reference.
Exactly. Like, you're complaining about what makes that universe exist.
Yeah.
Which tells me a lot about your outlook on things. Like, if you're complaining about what makes something what it is, then that means that you don't like what it is to begin with.
Right.
So why are you even criticizing it?
How did you, Christian, how did you feel about the first 2 episodes as a setup? Because it's clearly what it is. It's a setup.
Yeah. Setup for sure. I mean, The length of them when you're looking at them, it's roughly barely probably reaches 2 hours because each is like maybe like 50 something minutes,
Yeah, yeah.
credits. So it feels like a feature, it feels like a little film that you can watch, but it still very much feels like a setup. Like it ends with a cliffhanger introducing a new character, which again, if you're not brushed up on your comics, you're not going to know what they're setting up and why it's so exciting, going forward. But I had fun with it. Part of me which likes it because of the whole Christmas in New York vibe that they've set this whole series around. I just am a sucker for the holidays. I love the look of it, and if they can utilize that in a series or a film that really feels festive and really makes you get into the holiday spirit, I'm all for it. Same thing with Halloween movies, man. If you can capture that fall feel, I'm all for it, man. Let me get into that holiday. So I partially like the show because of that. I'm like, and plus, I don't think there's another Marvel movie or show that's set during like a holiday, really. I know WandaVision did Halloween a little bit, but this whole season seems to be just, focused around Christmas. Plus, the character of Kate Bishop, I was really wondering, are they going to let her lose, or are they going to have her like win everything? Is she going to be good at everything? And they kind of found their balance a little bit here with this character, because she comes off as like a prodigy, because we know her like, oh, she's like top archer in her university, she's getting all these scholarships, it's like it's insane. She's like number one in everything, it's very athletic. She's a black belt at 15, so I'm like, whoa, they're really setting her up to be this superhero already without going through any real training. However, she's clumsy. She's too loud. She doesn't know how to be undercover. And I like how they gave that mixture there. Like, yeah, she knows her stuff. She can handle her own, but she's not, she's not the expert that we need her to be, and I thought that balanced out really well. Because if you had a character that was too perfect at everything, then that's when you start complaining, and then that's when you're like, oh, okay, then why are we watching this? It's very boring,
Yeah. What's the growth? What's the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And I was a little scared when they started mentioning that, because there's literally a scene where her mom's like, "Oh, you're like the best," and stuff like that. You're just like outdoing yourself, this and this and that. And I'm like, okay,
alert.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, is this going to continue on? Is she going to still be, winning everything? But no, she takes hits, and that's another thing too. The fights are pretty fun in this. Like the fights, I remember I don't want to spoil it. She puts on a suit, which is really cool to see. Talk about callbacks. She puts on a suit and she's fighting in the suit, and she takes hits, man. Like she gets tossed against a car. She gets like punched in the gut a couple of times. She falls to the ground. She loses her wind. I like that. I like that brute fighting style that I think was very much apparent in The Winter Soldier. The Russo brothers really brought that raw style of fighting, and I love how it goes over into this movie, because this is, this series, because this series is set on the streets. These are street superheroes. And the same thing, they patch themselves up. They're not gods. They're not Thor. They don't have
special meta powers,
any powers whatsoever. So I love that scene where Hawkeye's like, I gotta get some supplies, and she's like, Avenger supplies? Like, what are you gonna get? Just goes to a local corner store, like a bodega, and just starts grabbing like Neosporin, Q-tips and stuff like that, bandages to bandage themselves up, and that's it. And I love the little moment where he's like, she bandages herself up, but she did it in the wrong way. He's like, no, you got to do it perpendicular to the cut so it can come together and it can heal faster. And this, so I love those little moments where they're like, Hawkeye is an expert in all these things, but it's very subtle, and I like how they also balance the fame of being an Avenger, but at the same time, he's an undercover agent, so he likes to keep a low profile. So the fame that comes with being a part of this epic group of heroes, you see him deal with that. And I thought that was a nice touch as well. You're like, oh, fuck. You're like, no shit. He's really dealing with the fame and how he doesn't really like it. He's trying to protect the people around him, yet he's all over the place. It's very interesting. And yeah, you brought this up, the fact that they're both sharing the screen time together. I didn't notice that until you brought that up. You're like, no shit. Yeah, they are. And that's really cool how they're sharing the show together. And I wonder, do you guys think, is that too much for audiences? Two people sharing the screen? Do you think that's maybe why people are kind of jumping off ship too fast?
I wouldn't think so, because I always go like for something like that, like to have like two protagonists or like shifting perspectives within a story. I mean, Lord of the Rings does that,
right?
Yeah.
I would
yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
I would say it's definitely, Kate Bishop is definitely the protagonist, for sure. And then Clint is more of a supporting character, but like, you know.
So like if this was like hero's journey, he's the mentor.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like he's that archetype, and then so this is Kate Bishop's story. This isn't Clint's story.
And we do start with her too, so it's not like we start with Clint in the Battle of New York. No, we start with Kate's perspective, and we're always sticking with Kate's perspective too. So it's like we start with Kate. We're gonna probably end with Kate, you know.
So then I mean, at least it's following that basic thing. And I know a lot of people criticize or like to criticize the hero's journey, but I mean, those archetypes have been in human storytelling since the beginning of time, and you can make different iterations. You know, you can juke around it and make, you know, maybe subvert it a little bit and change your thing. But I mean, the basic foundation of the hero's journey, I mean, if you follow it and still maintain some like originality, you're going to have a successful story.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to follow it, to be honest with you. I mean, if you just think of a simple story, I mean, it's like you're going to hit those beats, you know, it's like eventually you're going to hit like, oh, the inspiration, like the call to adventure. Like you're going to have that in some form or way, you know. Thinking of a character, well, what's his thing? Well, he's fighting this major evil battle, his major evil army, and he's the chosen one. Well, there you go. That he has to protect his home. You know, automatically you hit the beat for yourself, you know.
But the thing that people tend to forget about the hero's journey is that the hero doesn't always triumph over adversity. Over the like the first or second time hitting that wall, sometimes they fall down.
Yeah.
And if the hero does not fall down, if there isn't some lowest point, then that's when you get into the Mary Sue thing, because now this person can do no wrong. They're perfect. They know everything that they need to know. They have the perfect amount of experience. And basically it's like press the button and we're on autopilot for the rest of the film. You know, the what makes the hero's journey complete is that drama. It's that, you know, when the hero fails. That's why Infinity War hits the way it does, because they fail, right? And I think how people reacted to Thor's character in Endgame, that was his own mini hero's journey, right? Because like he has like that weight and that burden of like, you know, I didn't go for the head. And so these last 5 years is my fault. Right. And it's just like, for me, watching Endgame and, you know, and seeing Thor's character, and he's at rock bottom, right? At new, you know, in their little Norway camp.
Literally.
And then
on the rocks. He's
playing games with a rock person.
Yeah. On the rocks. Yeah.
Like, and he's the cynical one, right? He's the pessimistic one. He's the one who doesn't give a fuck, right? But then when he goes onto the mission and he goes back and he sees his mom, that scene, it's just like, okay, one, waterworks. Two, it's like he's refound himself.
Yeah.
And when he reaches his hand out and Mjolnir comes back, that tells him, it's not just like he got his hammer back. That's symbolically saying, literally, not even symbolically, that's literally saying he is still worthy of the mantle of Thor, despite everything that's happened.
Right,
you know?
and we see Clint kind of go through his own version of that in these first 2 episodes too. You know, he's dealing with, you know, there's a really great scene where he has to come to the realization that Natasha's no longer around, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we see him dealing with that, which is nice. You know, it's nice that he has to still go through what he has to go through. There's stuff that happens.
Well, there's that Ronin stuff that he has to deal with too, right? I mean, I haven't seen.
Yeah. No, you're on the right track.
Speaking of Endgame, I mean, that's.
I mean,
that was some baller shit that he was doing.
That's pretty.
Someone wears a suit, so.
I mean, well, that's pretty much the show does deal with all of that, where it's like, yeah, he's got to come to terms with that, and I thought the way that they make these two characters meet, I thought was kind of was pretty sweet. I like their chemistry. Like on screen, I think they work really well together. Haley Steinfeld is perfect. I don't know who, like, good thing they found her, because I think she can carry the MCU forward for sure. I think she can be somebody who's going to be a real heavy person in the universe.
I remember I read somewhere that Kevin Feige always initially thought of her as Kate Bishop. I remember like that was their first choice, and they were worried that she wasn't going to be interested. But I mean, who wouldn't be interested? I mean, you're like, basically she's a title character. She takes up that title, so that's of course she's going to be interested. So that's cool. How you choice.
I think, and not to say that like Jeremy Renner didn't have a big part in the franchise, because he did. But I think they're going to put Kate Bishop more front and center. I think they're going to give her a little bit more to do, maybe, going forward in the next couple phases. I don't know.
That's establishing like the new Avengers route, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, we're not going to have Jeremy Renner forever, just like we're not going to have Robert Downey Jr. forever. We're not going to have, we're not going to have all these people.
Yeah, all those.
Even like, I mean, like what they're doing with the Scarlet Witch. I don't even know if they're going to. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the Doctor Strange movie. So,
and I wonder how far are they going to take the Guardians and Thor? How far are their stories going to reach? Until they're like, okay, this is a good time to send off the characters.
Yeah, like this Guardians 3 is probably going to be the last Guardians movie that we're going to see, or at least with this cast. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, probably.
So, and we see them expanding into that cosmic.
Realm
into the cosmic realm. So it'd be interesting to see. I think this just popped in my head. I think maybe what they're going to do is like, they're going to keep on doing this stuff. They're going to let No Way Home do its thing, and then they're going to let Doctor Strange do its thing. And by that time, we should start seeing like the X-Men 97 and all that. And I think if they get very positive numbers, if they get a positive reaction from X-Men 97, and it shows that there's still a huge interest in X-Men, I think maybe we start looking at, X-Men, Fantastic Four, things like that. Because X-Men has has huge cosmic ties as well.
Right.
Like I think I've mentioned that before with the M'Kraan Crystal, the Shi'ar Empire. The Starjammers are the space pirate team, and they have interactions with the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. So they're kind of like a version of the Ravagers, and it's. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. I would love to see, and we keep bringing him up, but I'm like, if you want your big bad, you got to bring Galactus.
Oh
you
yeah,
gotta do him right.
He's coming.
So like they have the Watchers in the What Ifs. So like, and the Watchers, those are, you want to talk about big cosmic entities. That's a tie-in to Fantastic Four. That's a tie-in to Galactus, and it's God. I mean, we can go into like the Living Tribunal, the one above all. I mean, there could be some massive stuff that they can do. I mean, maybe it'll be too massive for them to tackle.
What if Kevin Feige plays the one above all?
That would be interesting.
Well,
if they ever do that, though, I think they may try to make the one above all maybe look like, Jack Kirby or Stan Lee or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of fun. So it's rumor. Well, maybe it's rumor, I guess. That Mr. Wilson Fisk himself is going to show up in this series.
Well, I'm sorry. I just love how we were starting at Hawkeye, and then Shannon took us all the way to the one above all.
Yeah,
but that's awesome, man.
That's cool. That's
where. And then you're like, all right, now we got to come back to the streets. All right, back in New York.
But it's just like, we're talking about they're reestablishing all this.
Oh yeah,
so
no.
We're getting a new Hawkeye. We're going to be getting a new Hulk and She-Hulk. We're getting Miss Marvel.
There's only
Kamala
one
Khan
way to
Miss
go
Marvel.
but up from here.
So it's like, what are they going to do? We have a new we have Captain America, and then we have a alternate Captain America. We have an alternate Black Widow now.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how these characters fit in, right? Is Florence Pugh's character going to become an Avenger, or is she going to be? Is she on the other side?
We got the Thunderbolts sort of maybe forming in the background. Yeah,
that's what it seems like with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. She popped up in Black Widow and in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And so she got U.S. agent on her side already, and she recruited U.S. agent and then Yelena Belova already. So
so it's like so she has her version of a Captain America and Black Widow. So what's going to happen? Is she going to show up in She-Hulk and be like? Because I mean,
I think so.
Bruce is still Bruce. So unless something is going to happen to him in the She-Hulk universe, in the series, Bruce is still going to be an Avenger. So, is she going to join up, or is she or something going to happen? And then, the Countess or, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to show up and be like, hey, I'm forming this little team, and then we get like this movie where it's, the new Avengers versus the Dark Avengers, and then, Yelena is like, oh, I want to be on that team. I want to do my hero pose, on the Avengers. And I would love to see Red Guardian or Crimson Guardian, whatever.
For sure.
Dave Harbour. Oh my God, I fucking love that.
But back to what I was saying about the Mr. Wilson Fisk himself,
Jesus Christ, stop catapulting. Just stay here.
No, but
how about I'll just mute myself.
It's rumored, Vincent D'Onofrio from the Netflix series, the Daredevil series, is going to come over and reprise his role. That's very exciting.
Yeah, man, especially, I mean, I will spoil this a little bit, man, because you already mentioned Wilson Fisk. Episode 2, like, we haven't seen much from her because we just saw her introduction. Echo is now in the show. And Echo, if you don't know from the comics, she's a side character in the Daredevil comics. She was introduced in the Daredevil comics, and I believe she was the adopted daughter of Wilson Fisk. I think Fisk killed her family, or like an act that he did ended up in their deaths, and he took her underneath his wing, kind of similar to Thanos. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say very similar to a Thanos Gamora type thing, but yeah, he takes her underneath her wing to try to work for him and shit. But it was very cool because I remember there was like a lot of fights in the comics that she utilizes her sight against Daredevil, and Daredevil utilizes his hearing against her. So it's always like an evenly matched fight between the two. So oh my God, if Wilson Fisk is in this show, bro, Matt Murdock. I mean, I don't know. I like this.
So do you think that the Netflix Daredevil narrative, like that story, that universe, do you think that still exists, or are they just taking those characters and placing them into a new narrative?
I think it's a whole new version. They're just taking the actor.
And here's the thing. This is the beauty of it. They can, if they really want to, keep it in continuity some way, somehow, but very vaguely, because they're doing all this multiverse stuff. So I can see Far From No Way Home being a big retcon movie. Like, yeah, they came from their narratives, but now that they're here with all this multiverse shenanigans going on, everything's rewritten. And moving.
So you're positing it's more than just Spider-Man and the Senator. I keep saying Senator Six.
Senator Six.
The six more than senators.
Yeah, right. Dun, dun, dun. It's more than
run for re-election.
and the Spider-Man coming through. It's other things.
I think so.
Yeah, it should be. It for sure. I mean, because they're building this up to be really big, and like something like catastrophic is coming through. And even Strange even said in the trailer, like, I can't control who comes through. So it could be anyone. Like fucking John Cena could pop up, and do some, so like anyone can pop up. So I think Yeah, we could be, which is also,
Peacemaker.
yeah, right. Peacemaker comes through, is like, DC Universe is here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It's Vin Diesel.
Family comes driving through.
The whole family comes through. The whole family comes through the portal.
All these cars, and they're like crashing into like Sandman or something.
Exactly. That's how they defeat Sammy. They run right through him.
I'm
like,
very excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the beauty with Marvel. Like, they can go wherever they want. They can start anew with these characters and keep the casting the same, or they can take some things into consideration, handpick things that happened and did not happen. You know, so they're in this ballpark here that they can go two ways, and they have freedom going forward, which is pretty nice. You know,
but yeah, I enjoyed the show. Obviously, again, like we said, it's only the first 2 episodes, so don't get your panties in a bunch if you're like, meh. Like, calm your
chance.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet, and that's just because I was looking at other stuff. But
right.
I'll definitely check this out. So.
Exactly.
You know, before we move, I want to ask one question.
Yeah. Okay. Hit me.
People are speculating when this is set, like how far into the timeline set after Endgame.
Oh.
Compared to Spider-Man, like how far is Spider-Man from Endgame, and how far is Hawkeye from Endgame? Because if Hawkeye is having Wilson Fisk, does that mean everything that happened in Spider-Man's movie already happened, and Hawkeye is a universe, or like the now retconned universe where every multiverse shenanigans already happened, so that's why we can have D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk come in? Or do you think this isn't like a tampered with timeline? Because I love how they're having these like kind of like solo outings, kind of like a Hawkeye, where it kind of feels like it's contained within itself. Even for Winter Soldier, none of these have any multiverse elements into it, yet there's a whole multiverse chaos madness thing going on as we know it in the film. So do you think that what's going on here? Are these tampered timelines, or are these all happened before the event, post multiverse? That's probably one of my questions, and probably that's what's, I think, throwing the public off, the general public off. Like, if you're doing so much of multiverse, why do we care about this small Hawkeye story? You know?
I want to say
okay.
That's my. I'm just
I never thought of it like that. Christian brings up a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Hawkeye. I just want to. I mean, this is just a hypothesis, educated guess. I think this takes place. I guess as a reference, let's use Spider-Man as a reference. I think this can take place between Far From Home and No Way Home.
Yeah,
I can see it taking place between that, and the reason why I'm using Spider-Man as a reference is because I think we're all in agreement where I think No Way Home is like the next big event. It's not an infinity event, but it's an infinity event.
Right. It's
So, big shit is going to happen. So I think Hawkeye, I think the show takes place in between, and wherever it ends is probably it's going to be before what happens, or maybe it ends when something happens, right? Because they're in New York City, right? Who else is in New York City, right? Spider-Man. So if
Spider-Man,
the whole like they're coming through and I can't stop them, that might happen at the very end of this, and it might tie into No Way Home. That would be a cool way to do it. Are they going to do it? I have no idea. Yeah. But that's how I feel, because like Black Widow ends based off. I mean, obviously Scarlett Johansson's in it, but like the very end of the film is post Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
yeah,
and so yeah, this is definitely. I mean, it's definitely post Endgame, but I want to say it's pre what's going to happen in No Way Home.
Interesting.
Because I feel like
I agree.
No Way Home is going to happen, and then it's going to be. Is there anything coming out between No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2?
No.
Well, I think.
Isn't it Thor? Or no, Thor's later.
No. There, Miss Marvel was originally going to happen, but they pushed it back.
Okay, yeah. So,
Okay.
and then Thor is going to happen off-world, right? Thor is with the Guardians, so he's whatever happens in that movie, it's going to probably be cosmic related.
Setting up Galactus? No, I'm just...
it's a possibility.
That'd be
Who
really
knows?
cool.
Or it could set up. It could fit into the Eternals. Maybe
True.
they're fighting a Celestial. Who knows?
Do you think it's possible to set up the Fantastic Four in the cosmic realm because they do get their powers from space?
Oh yeah.
You think we might see that possible setup in the cosmic realm or you think that will be more Earth based?
Well, the thing is that you have to explain how they get out there.
Right.
So like in the comics, they just take a shuttle up.
Right.
Yeah.
And they get bombarded by the cosmic waves. In the Fox movies, they're on a space station. And then, we're not going to mention
Fan Force.
I think they've existed. I think they've just been trapped somewhere. That's my theory. I think they've been
cool.
they existed back in Ant-Man times. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, like the 60s or something.
Yeah, that's what I think. They went out there to do something and they got trapped, and we just haven't seen them.
That might be a way to do it, but then it's like, how do you explain someone like Doctor Doom and Latveria?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is Doctor Doom trapped as well? Because I would think that Doom is like one of those like alpha level villains. Where it's like, if you need, you got to stop this guy. You know, Doom is up there with Apocalypse and Magneto and
this is where this
Thanos.
is where you get into the issue of like with some of these big characters. It's like, well, yeah, where have they been? Like, where's Doom? If Doom is going to show up, where's he been?
Well, and that was the big concern I had with the Eternals, right? Like, where the hell? I mean, the movie, I assume, I still haven't seen it. The movie says that, the Celestials told them that they can't get involved.
Right.
That's a bit of a cop out. That's a bit of a cop out.
Yeah,
that's some bullshit.
That was a draft one right that they're like, let's throw that in there, and then it never got changed, and they're like, I guess that's what we're going with.
I think it would have been more believable, like if the Eternals were like in a suspended animation, or they were like in their spacecraft out in the distance or something, and then what woke them up was the Infinity event, like when Thanos snapped his fingers.
Cool. Yeah.
Because using the Infinity Stones like that and that kind of cosmic energy, I think that would then trigger the Celestials to be like, okay, wake them up.
Yeah.
And
that's so funny.
That'd be
that way they wake up and they're like, what the fuck just happened?
I don't want to spoil.
While they're trying to, gather what the hell has happened, they get back to Earth and they're trying to figure shit out for the last 5 years. And then it's like, okay, the deviant, we've been gone. This thing happened. Now the deviants are showing up for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back into it.
Hell's breaking.
I think that, but I'm not Chloe Zhao, so
you're close.
That's pretty. Wow.
You're kind of. I mean, it's there. Yeah, well, this isn't an Eternals thing, but. Anyways, we all recommend it.
Marvel. We're talking Marvel.
We're talking.
Same umbrella.
Yeah. So, but let's move on to the next topic.
Hawkeye's good. Watch it.
Hawkeye. Yeah, no, definitely give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? It was a good.
I'm sorry, I keep going off Hawkeye. But
that's fine.
The thing is that the MCU is so interconnected, guys.
Yeah.
Everything has, and that's what is so awesome about it, because everything is interconnected and everything has a consequence, right? It's very Newtonian. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Just like our next topic. No, it's fine. It's fine. But you're right. Our next topic, there's more interconnection that we're going to speak of. So, Kathleen Kennedy has just signed. Kathleen Kennedy, who is the head of Lucasfilm, has re-signed a contract to come on board for 3 more years. say what you will of her. She has mentioned that there are plans to bring back the sequel trilogy characters, and Adam Driver himself has said that he is open to returning as Kylo Ren in future movies. What do we think?
Bullshit. John Boyega is not coming back.
Right.
I don't think our boy Oscar is coming back either.
Well,
unless the money's good.
Well, no. Well,
he's Moon Knight.
The quote. Yeah, Marvel's got him. Marvel snatched him up. Marvel's gonna snatch all these people up. Let's be real. If I was Kevin Feige, I would approach Adam Driver. I'd be like, hey, do you want to come in and play? Hell, dude, if he played Doom, I think that'd be awesome. I could see him as Doom.
Victor Von Doom.
Yeah. But either way,
that's a pretty good fucking choice.
I'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick. But it was kind of a dig, because in the quote that he said, he's like, I'm all for returning as the character. He's like, my big stipulation, the thing that I care about, is working with good filmmakers. That's what he said. So, it was kind of a dig, I think. Basically, yeah, he's like, I'm just focusing on working with good filmmakers. So maybe if
I think what he means by that is like a solid vision, like people that know where they're gonna take the narrative,
or just a vision, just any vision.
Yes, just a vision. Because I just can't help but think about the fucking quote that J.J. Abrams said when everything was said and done with the trip. I learned my lesson to always go into a franchise with a plan. No,
yeah,
shit. What is? Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, I don't know why he even said that shit.
Yeah, man, you just put you just soured the
because all he cares about is the money.
Oh, for sure.
That is true.
It's a very producer mindset, and I, as a producer, I said that I took a dig against producers, because if you look at Bad Robot and what they've done over the years, is that they take these franchises, and then he adds his mystery box recipe to everything. But the whole point, though, is to gin up interest, right, and excitement. And in those moments of interest and excitement, people spend money. And the more stuff that you can license based off of your IP, and people want to buy that stuff, you can make a profit off of that, right? It's what he tried to do with the 2009 Star Trek film and that series, and then it's what he tried to do with Force Awakens. But the problem is that J.J. Abrams has never been a complete, I would say, storyteller.
No, yeah. No.
He can set something up, right? He can set up great concepts, great characters, a great initial action.
Yeah.
But the follow through, for example, Cloverfield, that was a great film up to a certain point.
What point? I'm curious, because I really enjoy that film, so I'm just curious to see what point did it lose you. Just the first film, no sequels, just the first.
I really enjoyed Cloverfield too. I really did. The ending, I think, is where it really lost me. Because
were they in the bridge?
Well, yeah, and then the airstrike happens, and then everything goes right.
Yeah,
and then it's just and there was no. But for me, even though that story, Cloverfield, was there, you set up a continuation. You set up a possible sequel there, but then there was no sequel. And every movie that's come out ever since has not been a direct sequel to that specific storyline. It's been correlations. It's been these branching off scripts, side things.
Even the Cloverfield name.
Exactly. Right? So it's what happened with HUD and his friends and all that. Who gives a fuck? We haven't seen them in 20 years. And it, to me, I thought that was pretty lame, because you left the story off of, and basically you could say, oh, well, they all died, and it's well, okay, that's pretty low. But like with Super 8, Super 8 was pretty good.
Yeah.
To me, up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how all of his movies seem to be with me. Even
Now,
Star Wars. So, and it's like you want to bring Kylo back. How the fuck are you going to do that? You know,
The Force.
You know, it's going to have to be a prequel. And then at what point are you going to do this?
mm-hmm.
You know, because it's got to be at some point before Force Awakens, because the timeline between Force Awakens and Last Jedi is literally hours. You know, Force Awakens ends, and then when Last Jedi starts, it's literally been like hours, a day, if that. You know, and then who knows how long it's been between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. But then, so there's those like sections of where you can tell Kylo's story.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's very limited, and we know what happens. We know what happened to him before. So do we tell his story as Ben Solo, or do we tell his story as he became Kylo Ren? You know, as he's under the tutelage of Snoke.
Right. And
you know?
well, and like I've said this before, but I think you run into problems when you do this prequel stuff, because it's like we already know where all this goes. So I really don't. I'm not invested. I don't have the sense of magic, kind of wears away, because I'm like, oh, I know where all this goes. Like Ghostbusters, I'm like, awesome. They set it up. We the floodgates are open. We can do whatever we want to do. I don't know what's coming next in the Ghostbusters world. That's where I want to be.
There's
that's where
progress.
Yeah, that's where I want to be with Star Wars, but I'm just not.
Because they fumbled it.
Yeah, they screwed it up, and it's just like. Or it's like, I don't know, they got this idea where it's like, okay, these two they're a dyad of the Force or whatever, and so then they're going to mess with the Force even more, where now, because these two are so special, Kylo Ren can resurrect himself. Like, that sounds like a terrible idea.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that, where it's like, oh, these two are so special and so powerful that Kylo can come back. It's like, oh my, like, what?
Rebels introduced that whole, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be getting this wrong, but I think Rebels introduced a whole time travel scenario with like the Force.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
And there are a lot of people who are hoping that they lean into that. And that was that's a Filoni. That's Dave Filoni's
contribution. Yeah.
That's his contribution.
Yeah.
So
it seems like
it'll be interesting to see what they do. For me, the sequel trilogy didn't work. It failed.
Oh yeah.
Like not just on camera, but behind the camera as well.
Oh,
like I said before, you are not going to get John Boyega back. You read his articles from GQ UK, he's not coming back. They did him wrong, big time.
Yeah.
The actor, like in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not getting Finn. Oscar Isaac is supremely busy. I mean, he's Moon Knight. And who knows what else is going to happen.
I was going to say.
We might get flashbacks with him being Duke Leto throughout the Denis Villeneuve Dune movies.
Exactly.
We may see that, so we can expound on his relationship with Paul. I saw your review, Christian, on To the Lens with an exclamation point. Check that out. That's Christian's channel. He just did a review on Dune.
Mm-hmm.
So check that, like and subscribe if you haven't. But I think one of your points of criticism was that you didn't get the closeness between Paul and Leto as there was between Paul and Jessica. And I think you're a very dirty boy for thinking what you were thinking.
Hey, man, it came off. I wouldn't say if it didn't came off genuinely, all right?
Someone's mind is in the gutter. No.
It was the spice, man.
It was the spice, man. It wasn't my own mind, man. No, but anyways, I get that. Like for me, like in the 84 Dune, like the relationship between Paul and Leto, I mean, relationships between all the characters are kind of a little abstract, but I really did get that father-son relationship in the extended Dune cut from 84 Dune.
Mm-hmm.
And I get Leto I mean, Paul loved his father. I mean, like basically everything that he's doing against, you know, the Harkonnens and the Emperor, it's because, you know, it's like they didn't just, I mean, it's all like, you guys, you know, God, spoilers or no spoilers, I don't know. But it's like, you did what you did. This is payback.
Yeah.
And that's what the second half is going. I guarantee you, part 2 is going to be all about, like, you know, it's going to be Princess Bride. It's going to be, hello, my name is Paul Atreides. You killed my father.
Prepare to die.
That's essentially what, what's going through Paul's head. Yeah, I mean, obviously other metaphysical cosmic shit is happening, but deep down, it's like there's that strong father-son relationship is there. But I mean, back to this. Guys, I'm done with the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I think
I really am.
We're
failed.
Universally, we're not on board with this. I don't care.
The actors deserved way better. Talented cast, man. They rounded out a talented cast, but they didn't know where to take these characters for sure. And just to bring them back like nothing, to kind of like, okay, let's try to let's do it a second time. It just feels like a second attempt.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like they completely screwed the pooch. They really did. And it's sad.
And this is another thing. And I know we live in the Marvel era now, which is it's a bummer. But dude, I would love a decade of just no Star Wars movies. I miss that time when it's just like to build that excitement up again. You know what I'm saying? I like the shows. Like, okay, do the shows, but don't give me another meaningless movie. Don't bring these people back just so you have to fill a quota to get a movie out within the next 2 years. Or Kathleen Kennedy, who signs on for another 3 years, and she's got to get a movie in production before her contract's up in the next 3 years, and they just got to get a movie out to get a movie out. That's not why you make Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So. And if they push through a movie with these characters, I guarantee you it's going to go the way of Solo: Star Wars Story. People don't care anymore. It's like read the room.
Yeah.
The Rise of Skywalker is almost universally derided. And these are even by people who like The Last Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
They hated the Rise of Skywalker. It's done. And I think what she's speaking corpo speak there. Because it's like her legacy, her identity with Lucasfilm is wrapped in that sequel trilogy. So of course she is going to get out there into the trades and say, oh yeah, we're not done with these characters. And keep in mind, she didn't say how they were going to come back. Right. So we can just get like a huge comic run of the sequel trilogy.
True.
Or we can get like an animated show, which I hope doesn't happen. And if it does happen, I don't think Filoni's going to be a part of it. So I think that, or, because it's like, how else are you going to do it? Or you're going to have to recast it if you're going to do live action.
Mm-hmm.
If you do live action, it's definitely going to have to be recast because you're not going to bring these people back. And I mean, Adam Driver's the type of actor where I don't think he's going to do a TV series. I mean, no. He wants to diversify, the roles that he plays and stuff like that. I mean, we're going to talk about him in Christian's Gucci review here. But I mean, it's like, here's a guy doing stuff like Gucci, and then he did like Writing Story with Scarlett Johansson. So it's like, I just don't see him doing a TV show for Disney.
Yeah.
So how are you going to bring them back? It's either going to be to me, I think it's going to be a comics, or it's going to be some type of animated show. But I'm not interested. We've got Book of Boba Fett's coming out in less than a month.
Oh, dude.
Mando's going to be coming back soon. We got that. I think we got that. The news that the Rangers of the New Republic has been canceled. And obviously it's been canceled because it was supposed to center around Cara Dune, and they got rid of Gina Carano, so we're not going to get that, which I think is,
Wasn't there also like a Rogue Squadron series that was kind of that was pushed back.
Well, yeah, that was Patty Jenkins, right?
Yeah.
She was supposed to direct that, and they ex-nayed it. And I think, again, you want to say creative differences. Well, that's the nom de plume of Kathleen Kennedy in Star Wars, right? It's like creative differences. I mean, look, like real quick, guys. I mean, that prologue to Jurassic World, to the new Jurassic World movie.
Yeah.
We could have had a Colin Trevorrow Star Wars movie. And we did.
The Duel of Fates. That was the script he wrote. Yep.
And you in just those few minutes that we got in that prologue, and the storytelling in that prologue, right? I mean, and how Colin Trevorrow is connected with Spielberg and that 70s 80s type of epic storytelling, which is, god damn. Like, it's a shame we didn't get a Colin Trevorrow.
Oh yeah, no, they screwed that up. They should have just let him. She should have. I know there was creative. She should have just bit her tongue and let him make the movie he wanted to make. It's unfortunate that Babb didn't step in, but the trilogy was also rushed too. It's like,
no plot, no connections.
Yeah,
no nothing.
It's just like, oh, we need a new one every 2 years. We can't go more than 2 years without pumping one out. It's like, who came up with that?
As a producer, that doesn't make. If you just spent billions of dollars,
15 billion
on a property, and you go into a major cinematic trilogy that's going to cost a crap ton of money, and you don't have a plan narratively, that is the height of incompetence.
Well, and it's they were naive. I think they thought, ooh. Because didn't he gave up no, did he? Did he give up the merchandising? Or does he still have the merchandising rights?
Lucas, or?
Yeah.
He might get a percentage.
But I think Disney was banking on that too.
I don't think he gets. Oh yeah, and the toys absolutely failed after The Last Jedi.
Yep. So, we got a question in the chat. It says, which character did you like/dislike in the comics, but dislike/like in the MCU? Okay.
I got my answer.
Go ahead.
Go first.
Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's not my Spider-Man, dude. Like,
okay, all right.
I like my Andrew Garfield came out and said that his Spider-Man would disagree and not like Iron Man. He wouldn't be mentoring under him because he thinks the whole being rich and cocky facade that he had would rub Peter off the wrong way. And I agree with that because I remember playing, the old Marvel games back in the 2000s. I was growing up on 2000s, 90s Marvel, or 90s, 2000s Marvel. All right. And that's a Spider-Man depicted as an army of one. He was always by him. This is pre-Miles. This is it was just Peter Parker. And even when he's Spider-Man or Peter Parker, he's always dealing shit by himself. And that's why I think made him such a lovable and relatable character. Because we all essentially go through things by ourselves in life. Yeah, we have that little support system like Peter does, but yet ultimately all the weight falls on his shoulders, especially with balancing the Secret Life and stuff. So to see everything handed down to him by Mr. Stark, it rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I'm like, okay, can we get some independence with this guy? If I was
I think that's what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, after 3 movies, it should be coming. I mean, to me, I find it hilarious. I take a step back from all my excitement from No Way Home, and I'm like, wow, this dude can't carry his own film. They literally need to bring back Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Willem Dafoe, everyone from the past Spider-Man movies into this third one to make Avengers Endgame level money. I think if they weren't doing this story, this wouldn't be as hyped this wouldn't be as hyped as it is, to be honest with you. I think Toby and Andrew are filling those seats. Tom Holland, yes, he has his fans, but everyone's really hyped for these returns. Everyone's going to the theaters to see these old characters, these familiar faces, and I think that's my honest opinion, get your picks for yourselves or whatever, but
no, I know.
I miss my Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man, because I remember this old cinematic, this beautifully animated cinematic cutscene. I think it might have been for Ultimate Alliance or an undeveloped Marvel game in the past. But in that cutscene,
Got it playing back
Iron
there.
Man, what's up?
I got the animated series playing back there.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! That's awesome. Fucking A, right, brother? Yeah, in that cutscene, Spider-Man's dealing with threats in New York, but the threats are getting bigger. So every other hero starts coming out. Such a badass cutscene. Like Daredevil comes out, he starts helping him, and then they call for bigger support, which is Iron Man. And so Tony Stark suits up and he comes out and he's like, "Oh, am I late to the party?" Spider-Man literally tells him, "It took you long enough, Shellhead." And I'm like, that's the Spider-Man I miss. The one that quips, the one that calls people by nicknames or insultive nicknames, even if they're his allies, because I love the different personalities, because Peter Parker's always struggling with money and it builds character with him. And of course, Stark coming from money, he always has that cockiness, which of course is his character arc in the MCU that we saw. He sacrificed himself for the greater good, something Iron Man 1 Tony would probably never do, So that was his arc. So I love how those characters clashed. Mm-hmm. So to see him mentoring Peter, it threw me off a little bit. So I really wish we had a comic accurate Spider-Man up on the big screen for sure, and I want to see him sewing his own suit. I missed the time, or MJ sews his suit for him. That's just awesome. Just really cool.
For me, I think I'm much more of a fan of Iron Man in the comics than I am on the screen. I'm just not I'm not a really big Iron Man fan to begin with, in general. So I don't know, but that's one of them that I'm just like, meh. And obviously Robert Downey Jr. did a good job.
Yeah.
But I think there are aspects of that character that we're missing as well. So yeah, that's mine.
That's interesting because everyone pretty universally is like, he is Iron Man, So
and he is for that universe, but
for sure. Yeah. Compared to the comics, not the same.
There are just certain things missing. And they touch here and there, but the connection to the 10 rings and like the Mandarin, there's some things that are missing that I'm just like,
right.
But that I wanted
being a big one.
Yeah, that I wanted to see and I thought we were going to get, but we didn't get it. There was something else I was going to say too. I forgot. Shannon, do you have one?
Captain America. I like the MCU Captain America. I like Chris Evans as Captain America. I dislike what they're doing with Captain America in the comics. I think it's stupid. But I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I think how he did it. I love the first Avenger. I love that movie. Hugo Weaving with Red Skull, and just like the interactions between them, and that steampunk, not steampunk, but that diesel punk feel of Hydra during World War II, and then his growth from Brooklyn, the scrawny kid from Brooklyn, all of that. And I like that whole, the foreshadowing of he's using the storm, not the storm lid, but the trash can lid, as a shield. And it's just like, it's like this trash can lid evolves into this vibranium Captain America shield that is now carried by his best friend, who has taken on the mantle, in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And it's just like, I think that's awesome. I think his story in the MCU is one of the most complete.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I absolutely love it. What they were doing with him and what they have been doing with him in the comics recently, you can, sell that to someone else because I'm not buying. So.
All right. Well, that's, I think we universally agree that more Star Wars is not needed right now and can go to sleep for a little bit. I'm okay with that.
Well, hold on. It's not just more Star Wars. It's more of that Star Wars.
Yes.
Trilogy, yeah.
Let me get it. Yeah.
More
that.
More of that Star Wars, yeah.
Because people love The Mandalorian. They want more Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then Book of Boba Fett, people are waiting to see that.
I think
people want to see that world, that universe in between the trilogies, in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy.
And I wonder.
They don't want to see post. They can give two shits about post-sequel trilogy.
And I mean, I wonder if, and it'll be interesting to. I'm sure we'll get there at some point. Hopefully, we'll get there at some point. But it's been a long time since we've had this universal, amazing experience with Star Wars at the movie theater. It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if it'll ever happen again. I don't know. Obviously, yeah, on Disney Plus and TV shows, we're all loving it. But it's going to be so interesting to watch a Star Wars film that we all universally love, which I don't know if it is even possible anymore. But if it does happen, it'll be such a rare thing and such a wonderful thing that I'm hoping that we get it.
If you get Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni together to make a movie, people are going to absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Because they understand Star Wars.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely understand Star Wars. Other people, like JJ, did not understand it. He was a fan, but he didn't understand it. Right. Even Ryan was like, I grew up with Star. He didn't understand it. He didn't understand the characters.
Everybody grew up with Star Wars on some level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whether or not how you process that, I mean, is the big thing.
Yep.
Rian Johnson thought that Luke Skywalker had zero character growth and character evolution from basically pre-Empire Strikes Back. Because if you listen to his reasonings and his interviews about The Last Jedi and where Luke is, it's like Luke never went through what he went through in the climax of Empire Strikes Back. He never went through Return of the Jedi, right? He's like this whiny kid that who's easy to give up, like that to him, that's Luke Skywalker. And it's like, no.
I think that was probably the shittiest person you can give that character to. If they saw the character like that, that's hilarious.
But that's like if you listen to his interviews or watch his interviews, it's like he can't get past the fact that he learned his lesson at the end of Empire Strikes Back. He literally lost a hand because of his hubris and his and not thinking things through. Mm-hmm. Right? He faced both Dark Lords of the Sith by himself.
You're pounding the table.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all right.
Right? And he got his father to redeem himself.
Yeah.
He redeemed his father and defeated the Dark Lord of the Sith. And then it's the fast forward 25 years later, and then he tries, he's like, he's going to murder his nephew, and then he secludes himself, while the whole galaxy burns because he's pouting.
Yeah.
That's not Luke Skywalker, guys.
No,
he
it's
didn't
not.
understand it. He didn't understand it. JJ didn't understand it.
Well,
I had a feeling that Colin Trevorrow did, but he didn't get a chance.
Right. Yeah. And he was picking up a mess. So there's, even no matter what movie he would have made, it's like, well, I can't blame you because you're trying to pick.
The Last Jedi. It's like, what am I supposed to do?
You're trying to pick up a mess. Like, it's not your fault. And
that's how I always saw the sequel trilogy too. It's like Force Awakens was setting up something, and then Last Jedi continued something else entirely, and then Rise of Skywalker just ended nothing. Like it picked up and ended nothing. Like, so it's like,
somehow Palpatine's alive.
I don't even.
What story are you continuing?
we may do a rewatch. We'll definitely do a rewatch of Star Wars. Who knows if we're gonna. I can guarantee you the back three are gonna just get ripped to shreds when we watch that. So I can just tell you that right now. Let's go to the last topic of tonight. Christian, you can give us your thoughts on Gucci, and then we'll wrap it up there.
Well, my last thought on Star Wars, really quick. Don't want to spend too much time on here, but I think a good return for Kylo Ren would be in video game form and give us kind of like a Force Unleashed type deal where we play as him during his downfall from Ben Solo at the Academy all the way into his rise as Kylo.
Isn't it crazy how so many people come up with so many great ideas and they just don't do them?
I got a video game Star Wars: The Knights of Ren.
Oh, you could just tell that game that. Just
Oh,
oh man. Oh, so much.
You are the new
Star
initiate
Wars
into the Knights of Ren.
How about Star Wars: The Decline of Luke Skywalker into Pouty Man?
That's a game I'd play.
The tragedy of Jake Skywalker. Because even Mark Hamill's like, this is not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
I am not playing Luke Skywalker. I'm playing Jake Skywalker.
Exactly. All right. Well, let us know how is the House of Gucci?
Okay. Greetings to whoever this may concern, and welcome to a movie review I'm doing with two other people for the first time. This is awesome. This is so cool. Thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you for having me do this. So, House of Gucci. I had the privilege of watching this today in the movie theaters, and just initial reactions. That was good. It's a good time, fun time at the movies for sure. It's a lengthy one. It's like probably 2.5 hours. So prepare to and I'll tell you this right now, the runtime you do feel the runtime. There are times where it's like, okay, like they're still telling these, a couple of the other family side stories, especially with Jared Leto. Jared Leto was a standout performance in this. But they were telling a couple of side stories. I'm like, you could feel its length. It's not too drastic now. It's not like it's like, oh, it's dragging on. It's just like, wow, this movie's pretty long. It's like, if I can sit there and be like, this movie's pretty lengthy, it's like, okay, it's probably, slowing down a little bit. But other than that, when it reaches its end point, it's pretty interesting. My only complaints with this is like, I would love to have the authenticity of them speaking in Italian. I know that is going to be a lot to do ever since like pre-production, but it's like, I would have loved to I've had a little bit more of that, everything was in English. And I just had to remember like, okay, maybe everything they're saying in English was in Italian. Because a big portion of this, I think half of it is set in Italy. Then the second half, the back half is New York, showing their rise into the name. And yeah, I thought this was a real cool story because I didn't know much about the actual true story. So this was a good introduction. And I'm really curious to see what is accurate and what is not. Going into all the like breakdowns and see what was true and what was not. But yeah, it was an interesting story for sure. Interesting retelling, great cast, no weak performance in this really. I think again the standout performance is Jared Leto. He was funny, but he wasn't overly funny. He wasn't like, because I was worried like he was gonna like try to stand out and try to be something that was just felt really out of left field. But he wasn't. He played this quirky relative of the family quite well. It's like a relative that you would probably have in your family. The one that's he's a dreamer. He's eccentric, and he's like has a lot of charisma, but does he really go anywhere? He's kind of like the delinquent of the family, the disappointment per se, So I really like how they played that. And Adam Driver playing his cousin, very white collared, he's studying to be a lawyer. So initially he had no interest in the whole fashion thing whatsoever. So it's really interesting to see how he gets tangled into this whole fiasco, basically from his fiance, his wife, Lady Gaga. And she plays a stone cold, evil Black Widow type character in this really well, man. If you're a Lady Gaga fan, yeah, this movie's really good, I enjoyed her more in this one than I did in A Star Is Born. Something about A Star Is Born, it just didn't really, I didn't really like that movie. But in this one, I'm like, yeah, she was good. She was really good in this. Like, I remember I felt the audience around us getting annoyed because we can all read her. It's pretty obvious, she knows that she's manipulative, and you're like, oh, so whenever Adam Driver has his moments and tells her off and puts her in her place, people are kind of like collectively like, yeah, put that bitch where she needs to be.
Would you say it was a bad romance?
Logs off. No, yes, it was a very, very bad romance. Yes.
So you said,
I had to. I'm sorry.
So you said it was a good movie.
Yes, it was enjoyable. Yeah.
I know nothing about it, so I just I know nothing about it.
It does feel very much like a Hollywood biopic at times. I don't want to spoil too much.
Well, it's based off a true story.
It is.
So if you Google the Gucci family, you're gonna find out what happened. It's like you really can't spoil Titanic. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, the stuff that
Okay, yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
some stuff is probably, you know, some poetic license has been taken, but the major events, I haven't seen it either. I want to see this, but I'm pretty sure. Like, I know what happens.
Yeah.
It's news. It's history.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's you know.
Okay. Well, the scene where they were planning the hit, that whole scene felt a little staged to me, like a little set up. The whole production value in that one particular scene didn't really scream the budget that they had. Everything else looked awesome, top notch. I can see this movie getting nominated for costume design, and hair and makeup. You know, I can see the movie getting nominated for that. Maybe a supporting nomination for Leto, possibly Al Pacino. Pacino was pretty good in this as well.
I mean, they look fantastic. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
They were all pretty. They're all looking good. Again, like hair and makeup should get a nomination for this, especially Jeremy Irons. And there's a point in the movie where he's just like looking real sick, and I'm like, wow, that's some crazy makeup, dude. Real cool, real awesome stuff.
well, look what they did with Jared Leto. I mean, it's like
just look at Jared Leto right now. I mean, that's
I think
like
there was like an interview where Al Pacino had no idea that was him.
yeah.
And so like Jared Leto was like talking to him. And it's like, who are you? And someone had to tell Al Pacino that's Jared.
That's Jared, and he's not leaving his characters. So that's
That's crazy.
But yeah, it was good performances all around for sure. But yeah, just that little scene with the hit and everything, like them setting it up with the bribe and everything, and them negotiating a price, that all just felt a little cheap, borderline cheap. It just felt like a quickly set up thing, and let's shoot it, and then let's continue on. It felt like, dare I say something a film student would probably do. You know,
Wow.
in terms of setup. In terms of setup, it just seems like, okay, let's just place them there, and then let's just film it from this angle, you know, and never really do much with it. So that's like, okay, It kind of felt like it lost itself there a little bit in terms of quality. Everything else around it is great. But just that one scene threw me off a bit. I'm like, wow, is this just me, or does it feel really staged? It just feels like a stage theater, you know, like a stage play at times. I'm like, well, just in that scene, I'm like, that's like, what are you doing here? You lost me here. Everything else is good, but what is this, you know? But then, of course, it gets back into it, and then it's just that one scene that just threw me off. But other than that, this is a pretty good movie. Yeah, for sure. I didn't expect myself to enjoy it as much as I did, but I did.
Yeah, Sir John in the chat here says, I think they didn't capture the sociopathy of real life Patrizia. She was crazy. She was the original Kim Kardashian, always wilding out. So
dude, Kim K got nothing on it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, they could have spent more time on her, delving into her psychopathic nature in how she would like really, but again, they try to like space it out and tell some of the family story as well. Like Jared Leto has a little side plot of him trying to make a name for himself as well. And then of course, Al Pacino and Jeremy Irons, their characters are brothers, and they're basically like the 50-50 owners of Gucci, and that basically started it, you know. And it's always like an argument between the two, like who's really started it. Pacino says, I'm the one that actually did it, you know. So there's that dynamic as well. So yeah, so the movie doesn't really delve that deep into her character that much, but we do very much see her manipulative side. You know, we see her talking her way into things and talking her way out of certain things. So it's like it was really cool. It was really fun to see for sure. But yeah, they could have delved a little bit into that. You know, if it was just a movie focused solely on her. It's called House of Gucci for it's about the whole family as well. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to know that there's no living, like there's like a family member of the Gucci name or have no ties with the company currently whatsoever. It's just
they took it away from
them. Yeah, that's insane. That's what the movie mentions at the end. I'm like, no shit, that's pretty crazy, you know.
So here's the biggest question. Christian.
Yeah.
Should Jared Leto have been cast as Mario instead of Chris Pratt?
Any one of these actors could have been Mario. Italian accent. Yeah, man. I don't know what the Chris Pratt and Mario thing. I don't know what they're doing over there. It literally is just Chris Pratt's a big name. He's gonna bring people into the theater, and let's get him as our main star in this movie. Mm-hmm. That's all. That's when it comes to Mario. That's what it feels like. And yes, Jared Leto would have been a 100% better Mario casting in terms of like what he did in this movie. Yeah, I can see him. I can see him doing that. He goes full method with Mario.
I'm just saying.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I can see Jared Leto as Mario.
Well, Sir John is asking us to do the next segment in House of Gucci accents.
So there is no next segment. So
The final one.
this is the final. This is it.
We should have done a segment in the accents.
Well, Christian, so where does this rank in terms of the top movies of the year for you?
Oh, top movies of the year. Oh man, I have not put this list together because December still has its movies.
Well, how many stars, Guard, would you give it?
Yeah, I guess we can go there first.
Let's see. I give this a solid. So with all that being said, I'm giving this a solid 3.5. 3.5 Skarsgårds out of 5.
All right.
Skarsgård. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's a very fun time, enjoyable time. Performances are top notch. Costume design, makeup, fucking phenomenal. Just that one scene that threw me off at the end. I'm like, oh, why did you show your budget here? It's somewhere it's going to show its budget, and that was the scene, and it was really apparent for me. Maybe it wasn't as apparent for anyone else, but it was very much apparent for me. So 3.5 out of 5. That's a good rating for it. But in terms of out of the whole year, I think French Dispatch is still above this. I saw the French Dispatch review will be coming on my channel soon. Last Night in Soho is right above House of Gucci for me, and where that is probably, I guess, Gucci would probably have to be in 4 or 5 rank.
Okay.
All
right.
Okay.
Because I know Last Night in Soho is like top 3 for sure. French Dispatch in the top 3 as well. I'm waiting for Spider-Man to see where that's going to land. How excited am I? I know for my excitement level, it's in top 3 already, but I don't know, like that post, when everything's hyped and died down, I want to see where it lands too. Matrix, I'm still waiting for Matrix as well. That should be fun.
I have a feeling Matrix will crack my top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Matrix is probably going to crack my top 3.
Dune's really good too. I'll tell you that.
Dune's definitely in there for me.
Okay, House of Gucci's 5. Dune is 4, and that's not doesn't mean like Dune's bad. This is my personal preference because I like Edgar Wright and I like Last Night in Soho, so that is above Dune for me. But Dune's amazing. Dune is really good. It made me want to go out and read the book. So Dune's 4, Soho's 3, Dispatch is 2, and 1 is still open. Anyone can get 1 at the time. French Dispatch might move up to 1. Ghostbusters.
Interesting.
All this stuff. Okay. Gucci 6.
5.5.
I'm gonna make room for Ghostbusters now. Oh my god!
And no Way Home hasn't even premiered yet. So
exactly, December's still coming. So
I was gonna say Matrix, and No Way Home are probably definitely gonna creep in there for sure on my top 5.
All these
I can't wait for Christmas, guys. I can't wait.
We'll do a whole episode. Oh wow, a whole episode? No, we'll do a whole episode where we rank our movies for the year. Be kind of fun. All right, well. Thank you, Christian, for letting us know about the House of Gucci. Go check out his channel. Subscribe to The Lens with an exclamation mark. And subscribe to this channel. Grazie. Subscribe to this channel for all your movie news, movie reviews, and filmmaking. We do this show every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and Sunday night. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I think we're going to sign off here. This is going to be the end for tonight. We'll see you in the next video. And everyone have a wonderful night. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you. Good night. Well, no, not.
Now I want some gelato.